Hi everyone, this is Ariana from A Frugal Life, and today we're going to be talking about something near and dear to my heart, and that is old-fashioned homemaking skills. So you would be surprised how many things you can learn to do at home, which are some really old-fashioned things that your grandmothers or your mothers may have done, which actually are going to save you a ton of money, but they also are really rewarding and productive. They're great skills to teach your children and things to do together in the household. So I'm going to mention some of these things that are easy to get started with, easy to learn, don't require a lot of startup costs. So here are some of my favorites. So number one, of course, is cooking from scratch. And even if you are a cook and you cook all the time, there may be things you can learn to make that you haven't learned to make yet. So I recently learned last year to make tortillas, and I would never have thought to make my own tortillas. But after purchasing a $5 tortilla press, I realized that it is so much cheaper to make my own tortillas, and they taste amazing. They are so much better. They keep in the fridge just as long as the other ones do because we do eat them pretty quickly, and I learned to make them on the internet. So you can learn other skills on the internet, of course, via YouTube, but if you're not a cook and you don't really cook from scratch, start with something simple. Learn to make eggs and pancakes. Learn to make a simple stir fry. So no matter what your skill level, learning to cook from scratch is definitely something you need to be doing. If you saw my last video, it is one of the top things you can do if you're trying to eat healthy on a budget. Cooking from scratch is my number one tip, and I'm putting at the top of this list. Number two, and this is one that has come up recently in my Facebook group, is baking bread. So people seem to think you need an expensive bread maker to make bread. You don't need a bread making machine to make bread. In fact, it takes longer to make it in the bread making machine. It is a pain to clean the bread making machine. It makes a ton of terrible noise. It doesn't smell quite as good as bread in the oven. It doesn't come out as nicely shaped. So baking bread is super easy to do yourself. You just have to buy some yeast from the grocery store next time you go, and a few ingredients like, of course, flour and salt, and you can throw together batches of bread really easy. There are some amazing videos on YouTube on how to make your own bread. Search for baking bread for beginners and get started on something simple like some dinner rolls, and you will be making huge loaves of sandwich bread and artisan bread in no time. It is so much fun. It is great for the kids because they love to do the kneading and the shaping of the bread. It teaches you an amazing skill. It's even great for homeschooling because it teaches you the science behind fermentation. So if you have not learned yet to make bread, it is a home time skill that you should definitely learn. And one tip I'm going to give you is to not buy the yeast in the little single-use packets. They are way more expensive. Go to someplace like Winco or someplace else that has bigger, bulkier packages, even Costco, and purchase yeast in a larger container. If you're baking bread on the regular, you will use it, and it's not quite as expensive as those yeast in the small packages. So if you're looking to get into food preservation, canning is my absolute favorite thing to do. But canning is not for everyone. It's a little bit scary when you first start to use a pressure cooker because you're worried about the safety of all of it, and it does require some things to purchase, like the pressure cooker and the funnels and the cans and the jars, which are actually kind of hard to find right now. So if you want to do canning, definitely jump into it. It is my favorite thing to do. But if you're looking to food preserve in an easy, fast, safe, and less expensive way, try dehydration. You can purchase a dehydrator for under $100, or sometimes if you buy a smaller one, even under $50. It is a great thing to ask for Christmas if you haven't put it on your Christmas list yet. And I will put a link down below to one of my favorites that's inexpensive and works great. You can dehydrate so many things. So you can make jerky, you can make dehydrated soup mixes, you can dehydrate vegetables when you buy them in season, and they plump right back up when you throw them into a soup or a casserole. Dehydration is a great way to preserve things, and it is an awesome way to save money because you can buy things in bulk, dehydrate it, and then rehydrate it later for recipes. So this is also something, of course, you can look on YouTube for how to do. I might do some tutorials in the future. If you're interested, please put some comments down below and let me know. But dehydrating is a great way to get into food preservation on the cheap. Next is something that I've mentioned in my hobby video up above, but crochet or knitting is an easy way to get into a craft that allows you to do something with your hands while you're watching TV. It's actually very easy to teach crochet to children. I've done it many times, and you can purchase up yarn at thrift stores and flea markets very, very cheap. You can buy a whole bin of yarn for $20 to practice on if you're not worried about the colors. Later on down the line, if you want to purchase yarn at a craft store, I recommend doing it when they have their 50% off sales. But crochet is a great home time skill, and people actually love crocheted gifts. So you can make scarves, you can make hats, you can can make mittens, all these things. You can make blankets for babies, which are great gifts for baby showers, and people actually really appreciate them. So people will buy crocheted blankets in the store for hundreds of dollars. Why not just make them at home and give your love and time and attention to a hobby which actually gives you gifts to give out at Christmas time? So I've mentioned this one dozens of times, but I cannot leave it out of this video, and that is learn to sew. This is an essential skill. Everybody, female, male, whatever gender you are, whatever your age you are, you should learn to sew. I learned to sew when I was 5 years old, and I was making doll clothes by the time I was 7. I was also making clothes for myself by the time I was 13, but you don't have to get that crazy about it. Just learning some basic sewing skills and getting a nice inexpensive machine will save you a ton of money, because you can mend clothes, you can alter clothes, you don't have to pay for things like mending and alterations for weddings and other things. If you want to learn to make your own clothes, you can make clothes that fit you perfectly, you can upcycle thrift store clothes, you can do hundreds and hundreds of things with a sewing machine if you have a few basic skills. So learning to sew is definitely one that you need to look up if you don't know how to do it already. This is not a skill that you really need to learn how to do. Anybody can do it, but it is a skill that will save you a ton of money in the summertime, especially if you live in a hot, clean, not dusty location, and that is line drying your clothes. So I know it feels like a lot of work, but it actually is not that work at all. To take a load of clothes out to the backyard and hang them up only takes a few minutes. Throw them in the dryer when you're done for about a minute to fluff them back up again. But if you don't have a dryer at home, you can just kind of scrunch them back up, then iron them and put them in the closet. They are just fine. They smell really good when they're line dry and will save you a ton of money on electric drying. So this next one is not even legal for everyone, but don't worry, it's not something that's going to put you in jail. It is raising chickens or other farm animals. So people do raise chickens in backyards in cities all the time. You just have to check for your local city ordinances. I actually live in the country and everybody owns chickens out here, so it's not a big deal to purchase them and put them in your backyard. My husband actually built a coop and put up their run and their fencing himself, so it didn't cost us that much money to get into it. Chicks cost about $1.99 at the feed store during chick season, and you can raise them from babies up into adulthoods. They start laying at about 6 to 9 months, and then they lay for several years after that. It is actually very cheap to raise chickens. They require water and food, which is very inexpensive, and they give you fresh eggs every single day, at least except for a couple months a year when they get a little too cold to lay eggs. But most of the time, about 10 months a year, you get fresh eggs every single day. I've gone through periods where I got a dozen eggs per day every single day for a week, and 7 dozen eggs in exchange for the few dollars in feed that you have to feed them during a week. If you feed them scraps, it's even cheaper. It's totally worth it. Plus, chickens are just freaking hilarious. You have to have chickens if you want to laugh in your backyard, because chickens do crazy, silly things all the time. So raising chickens is a home-timey, old-fashioned skill that is definitely easy to get into, very inexpensive, and they're easy to raise. And I can't jump off this video without telling you a great skill that you should definitely learn, and I'm going to be the first to admit that I'm kind of terrible at it, and that is gardening. So I am not great at growing vegetables in the backyard. My mother, however, is a goddess of gardening, and she has a tiny mobile home, manufactured home backyard where she grows things like corn and tomatoes and beans and peppers and all sorts of things, and pounds of vegetables a year, and she does an amazing job. So if you have a green thumb and you're good at growing flowers, I would definitely suggest transitioning that into growing vegetables. You can look up all the information online. One thing I have been successful at, if you don't have a green thumb and you kind of kill plants like I do, is to grow herbs. Growing herbs and also things like green onions in your windowsill are super easy. Even I can do it. And you get good fresh herbs for pennies a year. It is crazy. They grow forever. They grow really well. You have to just put them in a windowsill where it's sunny and give them water, and you end up with so many herbs. If you actually prune them back and harvest them, they will grow even more and more. You can split off the plants and give them to friends as gifts. You can put them in nice pots. You can dry them for actually during the months when they don't grow so well. So growing herbs is a great home-timey skill and kind of a gatekeeping skill that can get you into gardening in the future. So I would definitely look into growing herbs as a skill you need to take on. So this is a short video. I just wanted to give you a few skills that you might want to get into. If you like videos like this, you want me to make a longer one or give you more skills that you should learn, which will save you money and actually give you something productive to do during quarantine. If you like this video or videos like it, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell. Ding, ding, ding the bell, because that will tell you when I put out a new video. Thank you. Bye.